Hello there and welcome back to The Closet Historian and back to my studio for another crafting project. Naturally, now that I have this craft cutter and the possibility for any color of HTV here in the studio, my mind has been racing with various ideas. And seeing as it's been very hard to find oil slick colored accessories, but it's not very hard to find metallic oil slick heat transfer vinyl, I thought I would put two and two together and figured I could DIY a way to fill this gap in my collection. So today I'll be taking a vintage handbag that's a tiny bit worse for wear and giving it a nice Blade Runner inspired makeover. Beginning with this Frank Lloyd Wright design from the Dana House in Springfield, Illinois from 1903 that I found on Pinterest but is actually a coloring book page from Dover. Brought that over to Photoshop and of course I'm going to have to fix this up a little bit, so I'll increase the size again to over 2000 just so we can have a nice large image size, and once again I'll throw a bit of a Gaussian blur on that and then throw a curve on it just to crisp up my edges so this is ready to go. I assume the original graphic isn't so bad for using as a coloring page, but I need something a little bit larger and higher resolution. And again, as always, I apologize for my Photoshop noobery. I'm just going to go ahead and select color range black here just to grab only the outlines here, copy that selection, paste it as a new image, and go ahead and save that as a transparent PNG to use for future designs. And I'll copy that, and I'm actually going to come over here where I have this rectangle, which is 8 by 4, which is the size of my handbag today, but I think I will actually make one that's double that size. So I'll go ahead and create a new file that is actually 16 by 8 inches, which is actually twice the size of the surface of the vintage handbag I'll be using today. I can then go ahead and paste my Frank Lloyd Wright image on here, move it around, to get a cropped portion of it that I like to use for this bag. I didn't want to actually use the full image because I think the little bits of this actually would be too small for the cutter, but I am going to use most of it for this first side of the bag. Of course, I will have two sides of this handbag today. Actually, I'm going to fill in some of these bits with black as well, just because the handbag itself is black, so anywhere black on this image is where it will be just the black satin of the handbag, and so I wanted to see a little bit more of that in this design, so I'm just kind of going in here and filling in some of these randomly to create an even more abstract version of this design from Frank Lloyd Wright. And this has left me with a little bit of detritus in my image, so I'm just going in there and cleaning that up. And I'm actually going to fill in about 1/8 of an inch along the sides of this, just to give me a little bit of buffer room around the edge of my bag and to help me weed this later, because it'll make it super easy to weed. But I'll go back in here and keep cleaning up this white nonsense that was left from my not super crisp image. I did my best, you know? I only clean these graphics up as much as they need it to work. I don't need to make it perfect. I just need to make it good enough that the Silhouette software knows where to read it and cut. And I've already deleted the white background on here, so this is transparent for me. And actually can throw a layer underneath this and grab a color, let's say red, and see what this would look like if I cut this out of red vinyl or red flock, say, or maybe even a pewter color or perhaps gold vinyl. Just giving myself an idea of what this might look like. But I'm actually going to be cutting this out of, again, yes, oil slick finished metallic HTV today. It's called soft metallic. It's stretchable, which is nice. Not that it matters for this handbag, but I will go ahead and use the soft metallic because it's material I really like. And I actually have already prepped the other side of my design in that exact same way. The only difference is I've added on the TCHB here as well as part of this design and kind of erased some of the shapes around it just to give it a little bit more of a starring position here amidst some of the black of the handbag. I actually grabbed an image of the oil slick vinyl over on Google Images and threw it on a layer so I could see what that would look like underneath the transparent graphic here to get an idea of what the finished bag would look like in the end. But I'll go ahead and save both sides of my handbag, that first side and this second side here. That way I can bring them over into Silhouette. And you can see, even though I made this bigger, it is still quite small here in Silhouette. So let me increase this so that it is 4 inches by 8 inches, which is what I need it to be for my handbag, like so. And I'll open up the back as well, copy it, and put it over on this same sheet, because of course I can cut everything out of this one sheet today. For this, no problemo. Just copy that. Thank you. Put it over here. Once again, I need to make this 4 by 8. Let's go ahead and do that. And then I can fill in some of this blank space with a couple of my TCHBs just to have them on hand because I didn't want to waste the vinyl here on the side. And over here on Heat Transfer Warehouse, where I picked up my vinyl, I can see what the cut settings they recommend are for the Silhouette. So we have Blade 3, Speed 8, Force 7. Let's go over here to Cut and make sure I have those settings in place. Here on the Cameo, I will go ahead and thread in the oil slick material. Of course, this is backside up on my sticky mat here. I'll thread this in, make sure that's lined up with these arrows on the machine, hit this little arrow button on the side, really a touch screen more than a button, but you get the idea, and that will feed this into the machine. And we'll go ahead and hit test down here just to make sure that those settings do work on this. Just because the settings say they will work doesn't mean that they always will. Sometimes you will need a little bit more force. Sometimes the blade has started to dull, so it's always a good idea to go ahead and do a little test cut and make sure everything's working out how you would like. And then just to accommodate that little test square, I went ahead and moved things around a little bit after I had peeled that off and refed the material into the machine. And once this is all ready to go again, I can go back in here, make sure my settings haven't changed on me. You know, I've learned over the years with Silhouette, sometimes you never know what's going to happen in here. Always best to just double check. Again, make sure you're keeping track of whether or not you need this to be mirrored. For me, I didn't care which side this was flipped on. So this will be, the design I'm looking at on the computer will be flipped when it's on the bag, because of course we're cutting on the back side of the vinyl here. But that was not something that was a concern for me. The arena where this is, of course, most important is when you are doing something with text, because that definitely needs to be mirrored if you want it to be readable. But once that is all done cutting out, I can go ahead and grab some tools here in case I need them. Little weeding tools. They look like dental tools, honestly. Very pink dental tools in this case. But I can go ahead and peel this off the sticky mat and start peeling away the excess material. This is actually very easy to weed, especially because I did that little outline of my design. So you'll see what that looks like in a second here. Grab the excess material here. Now this particular colorway of this soft metallic is a little bit on the sheer side, which is actually quite nice, because if you weren't putting it over black, it wouldn't be super dark, which is kind of nice. So I think you could put this over gray and it would look like oil spilt on gray fabric as opposed to having a black on it. I would compare it to having a multi-chrome eyeshadow where it doesn't have a black base. If you're eyeshadow people, you know what I mean. But I can go ahead and grab the outline of my rectangular design here and peel all of the negative space away in one big sheet. Isn't that nice? It's good to think about how this will go when you're planning your design to make it easier on yourself later. Now here's the vintage box handbag that I'll be renovating today. This one does have some dents in it, which would bother me if I weren't going to be covering them up with some shiny stuff in a moment. I picked this bag up for under $20 over on Etsy, and it does have a satin fabric on it. I'm just going to go ahead and hope that that is a satin made out of rayon or something and not nylon, because this material actually doesn't stick to nylon, and there's no way for me to know with this 50s or 60s bag what this satin is made out of, so let's just all cross our fingers that it's rayon. Of course, I have my iron heating up on the side here, and I have a little piece of Teflon heat protectant sheeting to help me iron this on here. I'll line up my design on the first side of the bag here, front and back, who knows, either way, and then start ironing or heat pressing it with my hand, as it were. I'm using pretty firm pressure on this, just holding it in place about 10 to 12 seconds in each area, just making sure I cover the whole design, making sure all of it is pressed into place. That way when I go to peel it later after it's cooled down, everything is stuck where I want it. There are recommended heat press settings for each material as well, and though I just have an iron, I do try and look at those and see what the recommendations are. If you have an iron that you can set the temperature of, that's really good, because then you can set the exact temperature that the material requires. For me, I just turn my iron almost all the way up and hope for the best. And hope the Teflon helps me out here and nothing gets too melted. All right, let's see how that went. I'll go ahead and give that a nice little press with my tailor's clapper here. I used to use a Expo eraser, like a whiteboard eraser, to do this back when I was working on heat pressing all the time, but the clapper is here and it works quite well. Makes me wish I had a clapper back then, honestly. And I had to let this cool down before I could peel it. Again, each material has a recommendation of peeling it when it's hot, when it's warm, when it's cold, and this one is a cold peel. But I'll just slowly lift that off just to try and make sure that if anything didn't stick, I can see where it goes in the design and place it back and iron it where it needs to go. But luckily, everything has come off in one. And again, the recommendations for this material are to press it again for a shorter amount of time just under the Teflon. So that's what I'm going to do here. Give it another quick little iron, then peel the Teflon away, and this first side will be all finished. And isn't that delicious? I always knew the oil slick version of this material existed, but I never got to use it back in the day when I was doing heat pressing for clients at that job I had, because nobody, I guess, wanted oil slick. Of course, it's all I want, honestly. So I was really excited to finally get to use the oil slick version of this material. It's so delicious. We're just lucky I'm not using this on everything, honestly. Now I have to be patient and wait for that to cool before I can peel this side off as well. Again, doing that kind of slowly just in case anything has not stuck down and I want to see where in the pattern that needs to go easily here. I did get a little air bubble on this side, but again, the second press with just the Teflon will take care of that. So put my little heat protectant shield down here, give this another good press, maybe 5 to 10 seconds across the design here. It doesn't need to be held as long as the first time. Like so, just make sure everything's in place. Peel that Teflon away. and I'm all done. That's right. It's hard to really even call this a craft project. It's more of just a little mini DIY, just a really simple way to update and upgrade a vintage handbag that had some dents going on, had been stored improperly perhaps, but of course with all that ironing, those dents went ahead and came out anyhow, so now she really is good as new. I hope you enjoyed seeing how this little retro renovation DIY project came together today. I know it was rather on the simple side, but I'm thrilled to finally have an oil slick handbag in my collection. And of course, I'll be back with more sewing, vintage fashion, costuming, and crafting real soon, so I'll see you then. Bye!